Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we are back again with another disturbing Jay Slater video. I hope every single one of you are enjoying your new year so far. There's a few interesting things that I've stumbled across over the past couple of days, scouring all of the information, the Jay Slater information. One thing I have been doing over the past couple of weeks is going back all the way to like the 17th, the 18th, the 19th of June, and just literally reading through everything that's been published, the posts on Instagram, the posts on Facebook, the posts on Twitter, like literally everything. And there's so many things that have jumped out to me, especially now that we've had that thorough podcast done by Ayub and the Central Club. That gives us more insight, more of a perspective on the actual case itself. So what I've done is I've gone back in time, looked at the things that were popping off and reread things that were published in June to try and make sense of them, to try and see if they connect with what Ayub said in his podcast. And there's something that jumps out to me that makes me believe this was premeditated. And that's something Mark Williams Thomas said in one of his first interviews within the first 48 hours of him being in Tenerife. He said something, and I want to bring that to your attention. Not only are we going to go back and look at something that Mark Williams said in that video, but there was a recent comment, this one that you can see on the screen. Mark Williams Thomas published on his TikTok account back in December that he will be releasing information on Jay Slater when the time is right. Now, I'm sure you agree, our patience is running thin when it comes to Mark Williams Thomas. He released a video back in October, mid-October, saying that he had information on why Jay had left the Airbnb in the fashion that he did. The next day, the media said, exclusive, Debbie wants to know exactly what Mark knows. And then there was a further response from Mark saying, look, whatever the media is saying is total BS. Me and Debbie are on the same page. She knows everything that I know. So at this point, you're more or less just buzzing on the edge of your seat thinking, what the hell does Mark Williams Thomas know, which he claims Debbie also knows? What is it? What could it be? Maybe it's the friends. Do they have something that incriminates the friends? Is it Ayub? Do they have something that incriminates Ayub? Since then, Ayub has done a podcast giving us more information, more insight, more of a perspective on the overall story. As we do know, there's a few characters within the story that are shady. The number one shady character at this moment in time has to be Brandon. Not only Brandon, even Lucy as well. Remember, those two come as a pair. They come as a team. These two have been rolling together for a number of years. Even this post confirms that they have been rolling together for a number of years. But this post is questionable. Why is this post questionable? Because this is Brandon, Royston Cropper, putting out a post saying Luggy, you know, has gone mushroom picking. And then Lucy responds to that with a laughing emoji. But Royston Cropper, aka Brandon Hodgson, has mentioned Luggy. Luggy's gone mushroom picking. And this was 2 years ago. Allegedly, Luggy was one of the people that works with Chris Tenerife to find Jay's body. And they're the two guys that gave the tip-off to the Guardia Civil as to where that body was. As far as I'm aware, and as far as I've been told from Luggy himself, he was always in Wales. So when Chris Tenerife in video footage is saying Luggy is in the ops room, Luggy is nowhere near Tenerife. The whole time he is sitting in Swansea. And then these guys went through a process of really protecting Brad and Rachel. They wasn't really talking about Brandon because Brandon wasn't actively talking online. He wasn't really saying anything. And if he was, it was under Royston Cropper, and no one could confirm if Royston Cropper was Brandon, but we've got the receipts to confirm that Royston Cropper is Brandon. We've got those receipts. And here we are with a post, Royston Cropper, aka Brandon Hodgson, with Lucy liking the post, laughing at the post, with Luggy's name in it. So it looks like Luggy was a part of this circle the whole time. We also had Rachel confirm that she knew Luggy. She confirmed that in her live. So it is a bit weird that Jay Slater's gone missing in Tenerife. Two people that were involved in finding Jay were both UK based. However, one did live in Tenerife. The other was already associated with friends of Jay. Clearly, Royston Cropper, aka Brandon Hodgson, and Lucy liking the post. So of course, it's extremely dodgy. And every single character involved is extremely dodgy. You can understand why Debbie and Warren as individuals don't trust no one. Because when you really think about it and you think about everything that encompasses this Jay Slater case, everything just seems like a scam. From the story to the GoFundMe to the people that are actually involved in the story itself. Everything just seems like a scam. Let's just quickly go back to Mark Williams' first press conference because he says something in there that jumps out to me. Let's listen to this. At this point, I want to confirm that Mark Williams Thomas hasn't spoken to Ayub. He hasn't spoken to Ayub whatsoever. This is before Ayub's picture was revealed in the media.
Two men were over here. They were in the bars, in and around the strip area. They were certainly there for 2 days.
They were certainly there for 2 days. One thing I want to confirm is, how did Mark Williams Thomas know this? Where did he get this information from? And who did he get this information from? Because remember, he hasn't spoken to Ayub at this point.
know definitely that they mixed with Jay and Jay's group of friends that were there. They spent a number of time in the bars drinking. They say that they drank Hennessy, which was their preferred drink.
Look at that. Look at that. So without speaking to Ayub, Mark Williams Thomas is already telling us about the picture that Ayub is going to show us 5 months later, where Jay's drinking out of a Hennessy bottle. But he hasn't even spoken to Ayub yet. Some are going to say that's facts then. Jay was drinking Hennessy. Of course it's facts. We saw the video. He was drinking out of the Hennessy bottle. But just think about that for 1 minute. Mark Williams Thomas hasn't spoken to Ayub, but he has been given information that they were drinking Henny that night. They wasn't drinking anything else. There's no mention of any other drink, just Henny. Now, the footage we saw of Jay was so far gone out of his face, it looked like he had been mixing drinks, and there is a strong possibility that he was taking drugs as well. But we're only told about the Henny. 5 months later, 6 months later, Ayub does a podcast with the Central Club. He shows the Central Club footage of Rocky in the car. Cullen then asked him, have you got anything else that you can give us that proves Jay was with you that night? And the next footage that they give us is Jay drinking out of a Henny bottle. But it's only Jay. It's not no one else. It's not like Brad's got his arm around Jay and they're together, or Brandon's there. It's literally just Jay being filmed drinking out of a Henny bottle. The reason why this is so key, again, as I've already reiterated, Mark Williams Thomas has not spoken to Ayub at this point. He hasn't spoken to Ayub. He hasn't spoken to Ayub, but he knows that they've been drinking Hennessy, which makes me believe again that all of the videos that we've been shown is a point of reference for their story. They needed the videos to trigger the memory of the story, to remember what their actual narrative was. They knew they had footage of Jay drinking Henny at this point. Even though he hadn't spoken to Ayub, they knew they had that footage, so they told Mark Williams Thomas, we were drinking Henny that night, because they knew they had footage of Jay drinking out of a Henny bottle. Williams Thomas tells us they were drinking Henny that night. We're not too sure who told him that, but it definitely wasn't Ayub. Ayub reveals audio of Jay saying 2 bottles of Henny to their head, later reveals footage, which would have come before everything that we've been told, of Jay drinking out of a Henny bottle. Not only is it that not sitting right with me, but it's the fact that it's only Jay being filmed. It had to be other drinks that they were drinking, but they specifically mentioned the Hennessy for a reason, because they knew they had footage of Jay drinking out of a Hennessy bottle. They knew they had that footage. That footage was only revealed to us about 2-3 weeks ago. That video was one of the first videos taken of Jay before he went missing, and they knew they had that. That's why they give that information to Mark Williams Thomas. Same way I believe it wasn't Ayub that was filming Jay when he was drinking the Hennessy bottle. The only people that could have been filming Jay drinking out of that Henny bottle would have been either Lucy, Brandon, or Brad. Now I'm going to show you this picture. Now this was posted on a Jay Slater Missing official Facebook group around the 20th of June, so shortly after Jay had been missing. It says here, more evidence filmed on my phone from another video prior to the one I posted. As I am looking, I find more footage of him in front of me and my boyfriend. I have slowed it down to show him and who he might have been with. This was recorded at 12:25 a.m. Now remember, the last official footage that we have of Jay, where he had his t-shirt off, that would have been around 1:30 to 2 o'clock in the morning. So this would have been just over an hour before that. Now we don't have any video footage. What we do have is pictures. Now let's look at this. This is one of the pictures from the video. And this picture here is Lucy and Jay together. Yeah? Lucy and Jay together at 12:30 in the morning. At this point, Jay has still got his t-shirt on. So Lucy was there the whole time. She never left. She was there at 12:30. She was there at 2 o'clock in the morning. So when did she leave? She was more or less there when Jay was progressively getting worse. The simple fact they ended up at the Airbnb with Rocky and Ayub just kind of proves that there was no real support from his friends. No one cared about his well-being. They could see how waved out of his face he was, but no one was really there to support him. All they say is, oh, it was all Jay. It was all Jay's fault. Jay didn't want to listen. Jay went off. Jay went by himself. Jay ended up at the Airbnb. Jay didn't want to wait for the bus. Jay went the opposite way. This is all on Jay. I phoned Jay, and when I spoke to him, he went off-road. But it makes no sense why he went off-road, but he went off-road. Literally, it's all about blaming Jay. But when we look at the footage, Every single person that's blaming Jay is with Jay. So how was you not able to prevent Jay from going off with these two strangers? How have you come out to the world and told us that you left early by yourself, even though your friend is in a vulnerable position? Lucy actually says Jay was an adult and she left him with people he knew. But then Abe claims Lucy and Brandon left together. Again, just looking at these pictures for the last time, you can see in the bottom left corner here, you got Lucy looking at Jay. Jay looks like he's kind of dancing, got his t-shirt on. Again, in the top right-hand corner, you can see Lucy and Brandon standing side by side, and they're staring at Jay. Again, he's still got his top on, but they're staring at him. Not too sure what they're thinking at this time, but you can see they're staring at him. It's literally 12:30 in the morning, 1 hour before we see Jay without his t-shirt, literally in the worst state you can imagine. Even his mum, Debbie, confirmed that she had never seen Jay looking like that before. But that's what I wanted to bring to your attention in this video, ladies and gentlemen. Do comment down below, let me know your thoughts. We do have another Jay Slater video. In fact, I've got a few clips that's been sent over to me from Rocky's Instagram or Rocky's TikTok account, and they give us a bit more of an insight into their movements over the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday, and the Monday of that weekend in Tenerife. So yeah, in the next video, we will be looking at those clips. Make sure you hit the like button. Do subscribe to this channel if we are new. Turn your notification bells on so you don't miss out on future videos. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.